What would you do if a normal walk home became a nightmare? Welcome to Twilight Tales with Joy. This is Isioma and the Kidnappers. Isioma was a gentle and obedient girl who lived with her parents in a quiet town where everyone knew one another. She was the kind of child who listened more than she spoke, and she never left the house without greeting her parents properly. Her mother often held her hands and warned her gently, "Isioma, always be careful. Danger does not always announce itself." Isioma would nod and smile, believing that bad things only happened in distant places, not in a town as calm as hers. She never imagined how deeply those words would soon echo in her heart. One late afternoon, Isioma stayed back at school to complete an assignment. By the time she finished, the sun had already begun to sink, painting the sky with orange and purple hues. Most students had gone home, and the school compound felt strangely quiet. She adjusted her bag on her shoulders and began the familiar walk home alone. The road was silent. Shops were closing. Birds hurried to their nests. Isioma felt a strange uneasiness, but told herself she was just tired. Then, without warning, a car slowed down beside her. Before she could turn fully, the door flew open. Two men jumped out. One covered her mouth tightly, while the other dragged her toward the vehicle. Isioma struggled, but her strength was no match for theirs. Her screams were swallowed by the evening air as she was forced inside the car. The door slammed shut. And just like that, her world changed. Isioma cried silently as the car sped away, passing streets she no longer recognized. Her heart pounded wildly, and fear wrapped around her like a heavy blanket. She thought of her parents. She thought of her mother's warning. The car finally stopped at an uncompleted building, dark, abandoned, and hidden. Broken blocks and sand lay everywhere. The kidnappers dragged her inside and pushed her into a corner. They tied her hands tightly and locked her in the dusty space. That night, while Isioma still trembling in the darkness, a phone rang. "We have your daughter," one of the men said coldly into the phone. "If you want her alive, prepare the ransom." Isioma closed her eyes as tears streamed down her face. Her heart broke, knowing her parents were suffering because of her. The days that followed were filled with pain and fear. The kidnappers shouted at her. Sometimes they denied her food. Sometimes they laughed cruelly at her tears. The nights were the worst, cold, silent, and endless. Each night, Isioma whispered prayers into the darkness. "God, please help me.
Please help me.
Please don't let me die here." Among the kidnappers was one man who rarely spoke. He watched everything quietly. He saw how Isioma endured the pain without fighting back. He heard her prayers, soft, trembling, sincere. Something inside him began to stir. Guilt. Her faith troubled his conscience. One night, when the others stepped outside to argue, the man approached her quietly. "I can't watch this anymore," he whispered. "I will help you escape." Isioma's eyes widened. Fear and hope battled inside her chest. With shaking hands, the man untied her ropes. Every sound felt loud. Every breath felt dangerous. They moved slowly, carefully into the night. But suddenly, "Stop them!" someone shouted. The silence shattered. The kidnappers chased after them. The man pushed Isioma forward urgently. "Run! Don't stop!" Isioma ran. She ran through the darkness, her feet aching, her lungs burning. Branches scratched her skin. Tears blurred her vision. She didn't know where she was going, only that she had to keep moving. Her strength began to fail. Then she saw thick bushes near an abandoned structure. Without thinking, she dove inside and held her breath. The kidnappers searched nearby, shouting angrily, their footsteps echoing in the night. Isioma pressed her hands over her mouth, praying silently. After a long, terrifying while, the voices faded. Cold, hungry, exhausted. Isioma cried softly until sleep finally took her. When morning came, sunlight touched her face gently. She opened her eyes in confusion and slowly stepped out of the bushes. Nothing looked familiar. Her heart skipped as she realized she had crossed into another community. Weak but determined, Isioma walked toward nearby houses. Her clothes were torn. Her body trembled. Kind villagers noticed her condition and rushed to her aid. Soon the authorities were contacted, and before long, her parents were found. When Isioma reunited with her family, tears of joy filled the air. Her mother held her tightly, whispering prayers of gratitude. Her father stood silently, overwhelmed with relief. Isioma survived, and her story became a lesson to many. Prayer gives strength. Courage opens doors. And help can come from the most unexpected place. Thank you for reading. If this story touched your heart, please share it so its message can reach others. This is Twilight Tales with Joy, and please don't forget to subscribe.